Alright guys, so we're back with some more the Warchief Club 15 Oceania, and we've got Vegie up against Judge and Z in a Mongol versus HRE game. So two civs, pretty dependent on trying to get castle age somewhat quickly, I think. Two civs notorious for strong control of relics and being good follow-up civs for trying to take the sacred sites as well. So two very capable players facing off today, which should be a hell of a match. So Vegie over well outside the radius of the town centre, but if Vegie can keep the pressure on, it may not matter. It's hard to try and take one of these down. They do not have the greatest of health pools, so it can be quite easy to send some melee to pick it off, but it's also quite easy to defend it as well, considering you're going to play with a small initial rush unit count generally as the Mongols, and then sort of transition to a quick castle from there, while the HRE player probably looking at doing something very, very similar. And on Hillendale, with the close hunt, a very, very handy tool for the HRE player in particular. Mongol players oftentimes just gathering off the sheep and just training pastures, but you might occasionally see them going for the hunt, just in order to not have to put so much wood into pastures and not have to do it so early. So Vegie gonna go for a barracks. Very, very common for Mongols to utilize either their barracks or their stable start. They just have some such cool looking buildings. Like, look at this thing. Would you not want to live in there? I mean, if it had internet, of course. So double spear production on the way. Not uncommon to dump your early stone into it, because let's face it, you're probably not going to want to put the wood and the stone and the gold into upgrading your wooden towers already, into having their emplacement upgrades, and I suppose because you do need feudal as well. So the initial stone going into duplicate production for the Mongol player. Gonna get some gonna get some gold later on. Just gathering for now. Vegie probably could these villagers chopping from the closer trees, but it's nothing huge. So Vegie moving everything across. Judge and Z well aware though. That scout in tow, using the other scout just to try and push these deer a little bit closer to the town centre, I think. Because if you can get them all to clump up and then you stand in one particular direction, you can really push all of them at once. Oh! Judge and Z's actually deleted the mining camp because he doesn't want to let Vegie get the gold and the food for taking it down. So Judge and Z might be going for the other gold mine? I don't know. It looks like Judge and Z decided to end up going with a mill anyway, because the deer are all stacked up here. So you go for the mill either here or here. But Vegie's going to be able to keep these other deer from positioning well next to it. It's really going to hurt Judge and Z's ability to fast gather off it. The villager being seen here before it can tower up the rear gold mine. So Judge and Z doing well to stay aware of what's going on here. Arch and Chapel on the way, but only with 4 villagers building it. So Judge and Z's gathering quite well behind this. Bit of wood in the bank for towers and for production. Bearing in mind, the HRE player can only make the stables and the archeries from feudal, while the Mongol has access to stables and barracks in the starting age. So Vegie's going to be stuck in the Dark Age for a little bit longer. Just working on the gold towards the age up. Probably going to opt for the Deer Stones, just for the added mobility that that brings. So Vegie going to slowly harass the Archon Chapel. Unlikely to see Judge and Z delete that to save on the harass bounty for the Mongol player, because this thing's worth quite a lot more, buffing all the villagers in the radius. So we're going to see stable range production here. While Judge and Z attempts to break out of this hold. So Deer Stone's on the way, and with its position I think it also has the Yam Aura. So, and not only that, it also provides the upgrade where it applies to everything, not just traders and cavalry, but also villagers and all foot units, infantry, ranged infantry, that sort of thing. It's going to be quite useful for the gathering for Vegie. And for units being produced, Vegie really just needs to probably put a tower here, maybe here. And the units will stream across the map 15% faster. Judge and Z though, out of the hole for the minute. I mean, there's no gold gathering for our HRE player, but at the same time, Judge and Z seems comfortable to just try and break this hold first with some cavalry and some ranged. Vegie unsure whether to go for the repair or to sit in this other tower, getting the extra pot shots off, while scout for Judge and Z falling there. So Vegie's age up kicking in. Well, Judge and Z gonna start tearing down Vegie's towers. Spear's being moved across there. Villager might not be able to get out considering there's a horseman on the tail. So the Harrison's upgrade only really going to kick in just before the tower falls, so I wonder if Vegie might be best off just cancelling it. So it finishes up. The tower is going to go down. The spears going to try and pick off as many horsemen as possible, so this is good for Vegie, but that Harrison's upgrade probably didn't need to finish up. So Judging able to shake off Vegie. I think Vegie's slightly ahead, but could have been a lot more ahead if, yeah, that Arrowslit's upgrade didn't finish on that tower. While over here, it's finished up early enough to really warrant it, because it's going to be able to pick off a few of these archers, thin out the archer count enough so that the spears can then drop out of the tower and try and pick off a couple of these horsemen. Because now Judge and Z going to go for the gold and go for this food. Finally has access to all the base resources in the base. Ooh, but these Phil's taking a bit of harass. I don't know if the spears are going to be able to finish off anything. So now Vegie in the driver's seat in terms of the position towards the next stage. So it's sort of a weird spot for the Mongols. They have to really work towards harassing while having the delayed Dark Age, delayed Feudal Age. So they sit in the Dark Age for a lot longer. Then they're often not in Feudal for terribly long, where they just sort of get ready to defend and go for a quick Castle Age from here, because looks like Judging looking to now mount the pressure with a big unit count advantage, but this tower's going up. We're going to be fighting in the Mongol base, where they've now got the YAM network, so engaging and disengaging is a lot easier for them. The spears are lightning fast. The pasture's under a bit of threat though, and so is that Ovu for Vegie, but I said Vegie's now quite close to the castle agent with that Gur out there. Rather than really investing in a hell of a lot of pastures, Vegie now really able to afford this while still having some semblance of military here to defend. And the gold over there is defended as well. The Vegie now has the food for the age up, just needs to get a little bit more gold. The Judging's done the damage for sure, the Ovu's fallen. Stone mine that low almost makes it not worth going for another one there, and just going for one on the next stone mine. The Vegie going to be able to get a fairly quick step redoubt here. Still has a couple of production facilities, and Judging doesn't really want to dive terribly hard, because I mean you can get a couple of vills, but you're going to lose a few horsemen for it. So the Gur being packed up. The speed buff actually benefit the Ovu? That's crazy. I mean, benefit the caravan? That's crazy. One of the pastures being packed up as well. Now, Vegie ahead on the age count. So the step redoubt will be moved in a second. It does act as a regular Gur as well, but ideally you do want to have it on a gold source because you are going to gather so much faster. So Vegie ready to move it closer to the gold mine than swap them over with the Gur. Judging also going for the castle age, and being HRE already has the prelates, so one of them being sent to go and grab a relic already. And with the Regnitz Cathedral, these things basically make a relic gather at triple speed. So 2 relics now become 6. Judging just using a bit of map pressure to try and snare up these relics, and bleeding a few units for doing so. Horsemen a bit more expensive than the spears, and trade terribly into them. Whoa. Khan able to pick off a couple of the bowmen, but ultimately he goes down. So Vegie getting a lot of value out of the Khan. And for now, has a few idle vills there. Probably could look at getting back on this hunt once again. A few relics being snatched up by Judging at the moment. So going to be some great gold gen for our HRE player. Vegie in the meanwhile shifted that step redoubt. Now getting wheelbarrow. A little bit late, but not uncommon for the Mongol players. Other civs, it's a lot easier to probably rush it a little bit quicker. Little idle vills here for Vegie though. So Vegie probably needs to get a few more pastures, or needs to move some of these vills onto this berry bush at the moment. So a bit of sloppy macro here at the moment for Vegie. Now noticing, because otherwise in this position is doing great, because Judging is relying on having to put one of these relics in a tower. Already has that Regnitz Cathedral filled though. So that's 6 relics effectively instead of just 2. But in saying that, another relic having to be used in a tower. This is another benefit of HRE in the sense that the relics they can put in any building. I mean any tower along with their cathedrals, and it actually makes them a little bit stronger as well. Improves armor, damage, range. So Vegie's going to find it hard to stick around in this fight. It's smart for Judging to put it there rather than waiting to get another monastery. You don't necessarily have to unless you want something to produce prelates that's not your town center. But Vegie is able to overwhelm and do a bit of damage at the moment. And disengage. And Vegie's eco now looking pretty solid without all those idlers. A couple of pastures have been added as well. Now we've got Knight versus Lancer for the most part. While Judging, looking to try and wall off and prevent a mass of towers here from the Mongol player. A fair few farms going down. Considering you're not playing English, you don't have to be so religious about how you place them around the mill and have only 8 to 10 for each mill and blah blah blah. So Judging doing a little bit of walling here. And Vegie continuing to mount the pressure, going to pick off these villagers in the meanwhile. So the walling perhaps not going to go quite as far as Judging would like. Judging probably did intend to have a knight or two more while that was going on to prevent the villagers from dying so quickly. So another prelate on the move, so perhaps going to go and try capture this low ground sacred site just to provide Judging a little bit more of this gold trickle and sort of scare Vegie into thinking that you can't just collapse over your opponent now once you've gotten to the castle age. Another engagement going on. So neither player really has anything in the way of armory upgrades at the moment. But it looks like Judging will be able to defend this, I think. Slightly more units in there, but Vegie now adding in Spearmen as well. So we've got another barracks on the way too. Judging looking to control the sacred sites. Trying to use one of these relics that he's bringing home to get a conversion, but I don't know if it's going to be successful. And now the prelate is really dangerously positioned. He's going to fall. So Vegie's going to be able to prevent Judging from taking that relic home for the minute. While Judging not sticking around on the sacred site over here. Probably wants to try and get a tower up there or try and break Vegie's position here. Probably wondering if he can pick up that relic somehow, that juicy relic. Some more production here on the low ground for Vegie. We do have those 3 relics in Judging's possession at the moment. Judging going to try and bring the prelate and see if he can pinch this relic. So he's aware he needs to keep Vegie distracted to be able to do so. So Judging bringing him back a little bit. Though he might decide to just go for the sacred site in the end. Oh, this hasn't actually got a weapon upgrade, so I don't think it actually does any damage at the moment. It's just tankier. Oh, well, it's smart of Judging to actually use it and save on having to get another monastery just for a single relic, because I mean he's not going to find it easy to get these other 2 off Vegie anytime soon. Vegie engaging with a few lances, but there's plenty of spears in the mix. This will be a hard fight for Judges because there's not a huge amount of archers. They do have their vet upgrade, but they're still only going to tickle they're going to tickle heavy units. So the spears going to really give Vegie a bit of value this time round. A lot more red than blue cavalry falling in that last fight, and Vegie going to creep forward with the Springle Towers. Judging has great gold generation behind this, while Vegie really relying on the step redoubt, and Vegie needs to move the step redoubt across actually to really get that benefit once again. This distance gathering is hurting Vegie immensely, and Vegie's not getting the bonus 50% gold drop off that the redoubt offers. While Judging, the gold trickle is just continuing to stream on in. Regnitz Cathedral 600 a minute. Then we got another 100 with the Sacred that Vegie's now snatching back. Another 100 a minute with this outpost here, but Judgin hasn't upgraded it to try and get that Springald emplacement going. So now Vegie streaming forward with some units, has added the Trebuchet in the mix as well. Slowly be able to harass our HRE player. Take out a few buildings, but there is a siege workshop here for Judgin, who can look at adding a mangonel or some of his own Springalds. Gur being moved, and now the Step Redoubt in the ideal position for Vegie, so this gold steroid kicking back in for our Mongol player. Vegie going to try and focus down the cathedral because it is the most important building here at the moment. Engagement going on, but I think Judgin is taking a nice angle. It's hard to really get anything on those archers who are just sitting at the back, working down whatever they can. There's still a good number of spears here for Vegie in the mix. So Vegie continuing to try and work at that Regnitz, but I don't know if the blue forces will be able to stick around much longer. There's a few more spears coming in, but without any more Lancers to support them, the Knights and the Archers, the Judgin are able to repel Vegie for a little bit longer. There is still that Trebuchet harass though, which is going to make this difficult and really force the use of defensive Trebuchets to try and take out it and some of the towers, and the counterweight Trebuchet a little bit tankier than the regular, than the traction Trebuchet. It attacks a little bit slower and moves a little bit slower, I think. So Judgin biding time and trying to take out a few of these Springald towers, because these are also allowing Vegie to take some of these fights a bit more cost effectively than otherwise possible. Judgin still has this relict tower, and now it's got its Springald upgrade, so it's going to hit much harder than a regular tower. Have a little bit more armor as well. The cathedral being repaired a little bit, I think. Vegie's continuing to harass it with the two Trebs, and this Judgin's now going to look at gathering wood on the low ground, because this topside wood too dangerous to really go for. Vegie, he just needs to shift this go a little bit closer to the wood line. So we've got 60 villages and 45 army for Judgin, 70 villages and 48 army for Vegie at the moment. So Judgin trying to stream forward with everything, but there are still a couple of Springald towers for Vegie to fall back to here. Well, only one now. There's a lot of spears in the mix for Vegie here, so as long as the Lancers and some of the spears can focus on the Archers, the rest she'll be able to cut through all these Knights. But Judgin, fighting on his doorstep, is going to be able to repair the Regnitz, which is really absorbing all the attention of the Mangonels here. And we've got all this production here for Judgin as well, so Vegie having to stream units across the map, and not everything is just marching straight across. Look at these Lancers sitting out of the fight. Oh, but this Wolf is picking off some of Judgin's villages here. This isn't great. One of the villas has already fallen. Unless Judgin actually selects it, it will continue to get another couple, and Vegie able to destroy the Regnitz Cathedral. The relics falling on the side of the HRE player. The Wolf Still not being focused down. Oh, there we go. Now it finally is, before not before he gets a pair of villagers. So things looking a bit dicey here for Judgin, who really needs to get this Regnitz Cathedral fixed and get these relics inside it. Sprinkled here for Vegie as well, so these counterweight counter trebuchets going to be not long for this world, as you can see. So Sprinkled able to wipe out one of the trebs already, and Judgin forced to come forward, but not getting the impact desired. No pellet to move that relic just yet, but defensive keep going up here for Judgin. A lot of villagers sent to get this built, so while this gets this built really quickly, that's also 30 villagers not gathering for Judgin at the moment. He probably does need 1 or 2 more production facils and just to pump units out to defend at this point, because Vegie's just streaming in everything at the moment. A lot of villagers in garrison is also not bad, I guess, for all the bonus static defense damage you're going to get, but right now Judgin needs to be gathering food and spending it at this point. He's going to get that relic back in the Regnitz Cathedral. So both the relics there under Judgin's control and briefly repelled. Vegie going to have to go back to the drawing board. One of those traction trebuchets just going down. But Vegie, second town center going down behind this. And there's already a market there as well. I don't know if there's any traders or if this is really just to reshuffle resources. So that's probably the case. Vegie's going to force Judgin to have to keep repairing this keep, which is great because Judgin's already on the back foot, really relying on the Regnitz gold to stay in the game at the moment, because this other high ground gold is just about done. And Vegie's going to make it awfully hard for Judgin to gather anywhere other than maybe this gold or this one over here. So relic gold saving Judgin's bacon for the minute, but will it be enough? There's no prelate even in the Archon Chapel, so these villagers not empowered, even though Judgin struggling for food. Only has the one prelate over here. And it's hard because you don't really want to dump all your gold into prelates, because you're only relying it from the gold trickle at this point. So Judgin, will it be impending doom, or will Judgin be able to break this hold that Vegie's had him under? It's an impressive number of spears. And I don't see a mangonel for Judgin. There's not a huge amount of archers this time round, who's mostly opted for crossbowmen to deal with the knights, but then that means the spears can really excel, because then they don't have a direct counter out in the field. The keep continually being put to the same stage in its demolition there, and then Judgin ultimately running out of wood. Still trying to get some wood here on the low ground, but will it be enough? The Regnitz Cathedral now being assaulted. If Judgin loses the gold that's generating, then it'd be very hard to make the units needed to win this fight. Vegie with an impressive number of towers here. That one's dead, but it's just sort of bugged. It's a big fight. A good number of crossbowmen here for Judgin, but there's not much of a front line left. There's so many spears here for Vegie, and these guys mixed in with the knights should be able to soak up enough damage so the knights can actually keep pushing here. So Judgin's landmark going down once again. The trebuchets now able to snipe that tower as well. Going to be going for the production in the town center very quickly here, so Judgin's going to struggle to stay in this one at this point, I think. Vegie's really all but wiped out the front line of Judging now, and there's 6 trebs there, or 7 trebs. Well played. GG.